The movement involved some great and courageous people. Aaron Henry, Fannie Lou Hamer, so many people who every day took their lives in their hands to make Mississippi a better place. But they had to have lawyers likewise.
The changing of a society is a process that's glacial. Whether we like it or not, changing people's minds is an enormous undertaking.
Mississippi. It was the worst of the closed society.
There were so many things going on in Mississippi that were bad. If you could have seen the way black people were treated, it was just horrendous.
Our society is one based on the rule of law. That's how it's done in America. Lawyers were a helping role and a necessary role.
The primary responsibility of the national government was to protect fundamental rights, the rights of freedom and equality of the black people. And the national government wasn't moving.
Lawyers put real lives on the line.
I remember he was handling one case. He had received a telephone call saying, if you show up for court, we will kill you.
We must come to grips with the fact that while we are engaged in a battle to get an ultimate goal, it will take generations to do it.
this is Jay Worth the Encourager. Never stop believing. I'm telling you, you have to believe it. It's inside of you. It's what you feel. It's what you need. It's what you do. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. Just keep going. Press your way through. Can you believe in what you can't see? There's so much more that's going on inside of you. And the seed that's inside of you, you have to water it. Don't you believe it? If you can press, if you can believe, I assure you, you'll never stop believing. Hey, welcome back to Never Stop Believing. I am your host, Juanita Ward. I am super excited. Today's show is sponsored by Earthblend Coffee Global. You can use the link in the description box to place your order. I am super excited to have my guest here, Miss Kimberly Middleton. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for being a part of the show. You're just a fireball, and I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. I couldn't think of anywhere else I would rather be during this lunchtime, this lunch hour. I am so excited to share with you and to share with your audience today.
That's awesome. Listen, I am so excited about you because you are a fireball. We had a great dynamic conversation before the show, and I was talking to you about this quote that I got. And I want you to elaborate on this quote. So the quote that I got is, don't let missed opportunities steal your passion. Don't let missed opportunities steal your passion. Oftentimes we have opportunities, but we let the missed opportunities that we did not get take away from our joy, take away from our steam, take away from what we're supposed to do because of the opportunities that we didn't get.
Absolutely.
What does that mean to you?
Well, for me, that means remembering that not now does not mean never. That means to me that no may be temporary, and that some opportunities are not for you. Those are not the plans that God has for you. So a closed door doesn't mean that the next door won't open, and you have to be prepared and ready to just step into that next door. And so I think that's an awesome quote. I think those are words to live by and walk by, and you can't go wrong with them.
Come on.
Yes.
And that's an awesome thing, because when people try to go through doors that have been closed, that's what God does. God closes the door that no man can open, and he opens the door that no man can close. And when we go through those opportunities of missed opportunities, we can't get down, we can't get depressed, we can't get sad, we can't get, oh my gosh, this didn't happen. We have to stay focused, because it is in those opportunities that makes us feel that we are there to do the right thing. One door closing does not mean stop. The no, I say it like this, Kim, right?
Yes.
No does not mean no and stop. No means
Correct.
Next opportunity. Next opportunity. When was there a time in your life that you never stopped believing?
Oh, wow. There has been a few times that I remember. Some of the most vivid memories that I have is being a young single mother. I was trying to go to school in college, was just having financial troubles. I was working, but I was struggling. We were eating potatoes and bread, things that we knew would stick to us and would keep us healthy and strong. And so I recall this moment. I was working at a job, and there was a young lady. She called me into her office one day, and she said, I need to see you. And I was hesitant at first because I didn't really know her. We didn't have a relationship with each other. But I went anyway, and she said, God asked me to call you in today. And I said, okay, and I still was a little reserved, young, and I was still young in Christ as well. And so she said, sit down for a minute, and she said, God laid something on my heart for you this morning. She said, he told me to bless you. And she said, but that wasn't what alarmed me. So she said, what alarmed me was the way the blessing came to me to give to you.
Wow.
And so in that moment, she handed me an envelope, and it was $200, and it was in all $5 bills.
Come on, Grace.
She didn't realize what she had done in that moment and what that meant for me. That week before, I was at church, and the pastor said, if you're doubting, if you're having trouble believing, he said, ask God for something. Ask him for anything. And, you know, me being young, I said, God bless me and bless me in fives, you know. And he showed me, you know, he sent her as a blessing. And she said, I talked to my husband about this all morning. She said, because I am 50-something years old. I have been to a lot of ATM machines, and never has my money come out in all $5 bills. And so from that moment forward, that was one of the most instrumental moments in my life, where I realized that no matter what obstacles come, no matter what I face, that I just can't stop. And I also learned in that moment that God is always with me, that he's always there, that he will never leave you to face it on your own. And so, you know, that was a turning point for me in my life.
Yes, and that's a great moment, because what you're saying is, there is no coincidence, there are Godidence.
That's right.
And so you ask for something, and it says, if we ask, we seek, and we knock, it shall be done. So as a man thinketh, so is he. When we ask, our words are so powerful. Our words move mountains. Our words shapes what's going to happen next. You got to believe in what you speak. You have to believe in what you want God to do. See, the Bible says this, if we can have it in our heart, then our hearts will line up with what we are talking. But first, you got to line your heart with Christ. And what you did was you connected in and said, you know what? I'm going to test this thing out and see if it works. And I'm just going to test it. And you talked about being young in the faith and saying, you know what? I just got to see if it's going to work.
Absolutely.
I just got to believe that it's going to work. I got to see if it's going to work. Then I got to believe that it's going to work.
Absolutely.
And you never stopped believing that God could do it. And he showed up.
Yes.
Right on time when you needed him to show up.
And has showed up many times after that.
Wow. Wow. You know, that's amazing to me that you talk so openly about the blessings that God has done. You talk so openly about, you know, how he has made you become stronger in your faith, stronger in your shortcomings, stronger in your weak moments, stronger in your, you know, times of doubting. And you talked about doubting a little while ago.
Yes.
See, on the other side of doubt is faith, because doubt brings about fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. And when we have those false evidence that try to appear real, it's the opposite of what faith is telling us that we have, which is a solid foundation, that now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about your now faith and how that has helped you to get to where you are right now.
My now faith. My faith has grown so much, and we all at some point, we're babes in Christ. We will forever be his babies. And so, you know, my faith is just one moment at a time, and he's always showed me in so many situations. You know, I lost a niece a couple of years, well, it's been many years ago, but she was 16 years old. She passed away on her 16th birthday. She had cerebral palsy, but lived the best 16 years of her life. And I remember the night when she passed away, I was texting and teasing with my sister, and I said, I'm gonna come over and feed her cupcakes tomorrow. And I sat there in the bed, and God said clearly to me, he said, Kim, tomorrow is gonna be too late. And it wasn't long after that I got the call, you know, from my family about her, but he showed me this vision of her with these big beautiful wings and just running through fields of flowers and having fun. And so many moments like that have occurred in my life where I could have let those moments like stop me in my tracks and just, you know, give up and say, Lord, I can't get past this. Lord, I can't get through this. But he just always showed me the other side. You know, I lost my mother to COVID in 2020. Never expected. We had so many plans and so many things that we wanted to do together. But I sat up in the bed. We had been praying for her healing, and she had been in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And one night I just sat up and I said, Lord, you know what? I said, I'm not ready but if you're ready, if that is where her healing lies, is with you, then just heal her. And it wasn't a couple of days before my mom passed away, but even when my pastor called to pray with me, he said, I'm just, I'm speechless almost in your strength.
Yes.
And I said, but it comes from God. It comes through faith and just knowing that he will never leave me nor forsake me.
Yes.
And so my faith walk has been in increments. Little things have just happened throughout my life, and my faith just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it carries me everywhere, everywhere that I go, everywhere that I land.
I want you to encourage someone, because somebody's faith is wavering.
Yes.
And to know that they can make it through a hard time. I mean, the strength that you had as your mother was laying there.
Yes.
You knew that God was giving you a supernatural strength. I want you to talk to somebody and encourage them, because somebody right now is going through that same thing.
And what I think I would say to them is that you can't go wrong with God. Just remembering that he will never leave you, no matter what the physical circumstance looks like, no matter how cold it may be, how dark it may be, that he's right there with you. And he knows all, God sees all, and so there are no secrets. I remember times where I thought things from my past would hinder me, because I'm not perfect and have never been perfect. And I was fearful of that. I walked in some doubt and some fear with that. But what I learned is when you surrender it all to him, if he's forgiven you and you forgive yourself, there's nothing that has happened in your past that can keep you from his love and that can hold you down and that anybody can use against you.
Come on. You speak so eloquent, and it's so much peace. It's so much love. It's so much passion behind what you're speaking, and there's so much power behind what you're speaking, because that's true.
Yes.
The reason why some cannot get up, the reason why they stop believing, is because they've lost hope.
Yes.
It's because they've lost faith.
And we have to help them get it back.
That's it.
You have to help someone find it.
That's it.
And that's really what I'm doing here today. I know there are people that have other stories, and my story may not resonate with someone else, and they may need your story or somebody else's story. But right here in this moment, my only goal, my only task from God is to share something with somebody that may help them, that may give them hope. It may strengthen their faith. It may turn them back to him, to know that if he could do it for me, that he can do it for them too.
That's it. That's it.
He can do it for them too.
A walking testimony. We cannot have a testimony without having a test.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you went through the process of gearing your faith, the fact that you went through the process of seeing God reveal himself to you, it strengthened your faith. And that's what has to happen. We have so many times that we go through in life where we feel that we don't see the little small things that God is doing for us. But if you stop, and I love this phrase, if you just stop to smell the roses, if you stop to smell the roses, which means if you just hold back a little bit and trying to figure it out, trying to control the situation, God says, I got a master plan. The plans that I have for you are good plans. They're to prosper you. They're to catapult you into your next destination. They're to take you to new levels, new heights, new understanding. I got a plan for you. I got a plan for you. Do you trust me? I got a plan for you. I know that life may have hit you and smacked you. I got a plan for you. Didn't I tell you that tests and trials would come? I got a plan for you. If you can believe me, I told you that all things work together for the good of those that love God, who are the called according to his purpose. I got a plan for you. If we can remember that nothing will stop us and hinder us, I got a plan for you. That's what he's trying to tell us. I got a plan for you.
Yes.
We have to grab a hold to that plan, because that plan is a part of our DNA.
Yes.
He said, I got a plan for you. I got a plan for you. And you said here, my purpose You hit a key word. My purpose is to show somebody else what the love looks like.
Yes.
Through the words that we're going to speak. And when we come back, I want to talk about the purpose that God has put into you to help somebody else.
I'm looking
it wasn't
forward
pretty,
to it.
but it was worth it. Today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. Use the link in the description box to place your order now. We'll be right back after the break.
Footprint Farms is a beautiful 68-acre vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Hey, welcome back. Today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. You can use the link in the description box to place your order. As we were in the break, we were talking about the purpose that God has put inside of you to instill into someone else. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, I think my purpose is not think. Let me rephrase.
Yeah, there you go.
I believe that my purpose is just to be an encourager, to support, to motivate others. I recently started a Facebook group, and it's called In Grace and On Purpose. And I got that from a phrase that just came to me one night. It's called Living in Grace and On Purpose, because everything we do, God extends grace to us. He doesn't necessarily have to.
That's it.
But he does. And so he will carry you if you just trust him. Believe that grace is available to you and that he's available to you. He will carry you into your purpose. You don't have to scatter around trying to figure it out. You don't have to ask anybody. You don't have to wait on your girlfriend to tell you, And so that's just what my purpose is. And when I was younger, I thought about that, and I kind of struggled with that because it was like, I felt like I was always pouring out and helping, and I didn't understand that was a part of God's plan for my life.
Wait, we can't run over that.
Okay.
So you said when you were trying to figure out your purpose, that you kind of lost it a little bit.
Yes.
Trying to figure out the plans that God has for your life. Come on, elaborate a little bit on that, because sometimes people can lose their purpose trying to figure something out that they don't have any business trying to put their foot into. The only thing we got to do is trust.
Absolutely.
Elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, there were times when I started to feel a little empty. I felt like I was always pouring out, and I was like, God, how do you expect me to keep doing this? I was trying to ask him and not knowing he had already answered. Everything I was pouring out, he was pouring into me. Also just thinking about things that I had been through in my life. Those tried to creep up and give me that doubt sometimes about my purpose. Oh, you were a single mom. Oh, you had a baby at 19. Just things like that. Back when you were 16, you cut up. You remember that fight you got in, just different things like that, and I just had to surrender.
You got into a fight?
I did, Pastor.
You got into a fight? I cannot see you get into a fight. I can see you now get into a spiritual battle because you're a giant. But who would fight you? You're too sweet.
Well, you know, school. You know, back then, school fights happened. I was little, you know, so things just happened. But you grow when you learn. So, you know, but you have to acknowledge those things, because when you get to this point in your life, a lot of people remember your past, and they may not understand your future and your purpose. And so it's good to just acknowledge those things and get them out the way. And so I'm an open book when it comes to where God has brought me from, because I didn't bring myself, He brought me. And so
you know, and I often say this here, people try to pull up your past, but the reality is this: when you change your address, that's somebody else's house. That's somebody else's land.
I don't live there.
That's somebody else, you know. So if somebody wants to bring up your past and try to tell you who you used to be, really?
Yeah.
That's the only thing you got to talk about is so what you're saying is grow up.
Yes.
Grow up.
Yes.
Because your brain is stuck in yesteryears trying to figure out my purpose for today.
Absolutely.
Just admire where God has brought me from. Because the reality is this, and I love the fact that you brought this up, because there was a woman in the Bible that was about to be stoned because people were trying to talk about all the things that she had done. And they all came there about to stone this woman. And just so happened, Jesus was walking by. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, indeed.
Just so happened, Jesus just walks by. He just walks into the room. He just walks into the atmosphere, right? So at the right time. And so this lady just happened to say, uh-oh, I got protection. I got protection in here. So she goes, and Jesus says something that's very simple. And I'm going to say it to us real. I'm going to put it real. He says, if you have not done one thing in your life, throw the rock. But if you have done something in your life, drop the rock.
Yes.
So it's no need to cast fault on your past when you don't live in that address no more.
Absolutely.
It's no need to allow the enemy to keep distracting your mind to make you talk about something in a place that you don't live no more.
Yes.
Because greater lives on the inside of us than the little that's in this world. So the words that we speak is so powerful because we have been saved by grace.
Yes.
We have been saved by His mercy. You are saved by grace. You are saved by God's mercy. So anytime the enemy tries to use somebody else to talk about who you used to be,
yes.
Yeah, you fought them. You fought them because they was trying to talk about the size that God created you.
Yes.
You're the only copy, the original copy that God has. Gideon was the only copy, the original copy. And look at you now.
Yes, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that. I learned that those battles are not mine alone. You know, God fights the battles for me now. I just let Him usher me into where He wants me to be. I trust Him. You know, there are trials that are going to come. Like you said, there is no testimony without a test.
Come on now.
So even when you get close to God, even when you start ministering to others and encouraging others, the test won't stop coming.
Come on.
But it's how you deal with the test.
Come on.
And I deal with them by giving them to God. I go to Him and I say, Lord, this is showed up. What are we going to do with it? You know, where are we going to send it? And He has never failed me yet. He has never left me. Never left
So I want to talk about you and your inspiring others to see the grace, inspiring others to believe the grace. Because here's the thing, whenever you are talking about something that the enemy doesn't like, all things start happening.
Yes.
You know, just weird stuff just start popping up and start happening. You know, just different things. So whenever you're talking about something that's being set free, you start to hear different things, start to see different things. Because your walk is the walk that's setting the tempo and the atmosphere. Let's talk a little bit about how you are enlightening people, inspiring people, motivating people to believe.
Absolutely. And I just kind of let God lead me with that. Even with the Facebook page, What it was is that I do belong to a church. I have a great pastor, but there's something on the inside of me that has always felt like that ministry comes in some non-traditional ways, and that the way to reach the people and get them into the church is to step outside of the church.
Come on now.
And so with that, I'm always looking for ways to encourage people and just to tell them my story and you know, just give them some hope. And so I have two things that can birth for me. Memo 331. That's a t-shirt line that I was trying to start. And it wasn't so much about the t-shirts, it was about the message. The Memo 331 is representative of the memos that I get from God. The 331 is because the 3 o'clock hour is the hour. It's the hour that He wakes me up, that He gives me clarity, that He speaks to me. And so that is what that came from. And just in that, I was trying to come up with t-shirt designs because I wanted a brand that spoke the word of God. I said, I want something where you wear the word, is what I said.
Yes.
And so I was just playing around with that, and then I came up with the first shirt design, in Grace on Purpose. And I was like, but this is still not all that you're asking me to do. And I said, I gotta listen, I gotta figure this out. And so I started the Facebook group. And right about that time, there was a book that came out called Woman Evolve. I don't know if you've read it. But I joined a Facebook group to kind of read that book. And in that group, there were women from all over the country that were dealing with things. And we were coming together, we were praying and talking. And so there were some women in other countries that said, you know, I can't afford to buy the book, or books are hard to get here where we are. And so some of us got together and started just buying books and sending them to those women across the country. And from that, I knew that that was the purpose of my Facebook group, to just reach women all over, and not just for me to reach them, but to connect them to other women. Because again, my story may not resonate with one of them, but your story might, or someone else's story.
That's right.
And so that was the purpose of the Facebook group, and all of that were things that were given to me by God. And so it wasn't to be in any competition, it wasn't to be famous, it was just because that was what He told me to do.
Yes, and that's so eloquent, because what you're saying is, I'm just trying to be a willing vessel to help. I just want to be a willing vessel to do my part. And I like what you said, we got to get out of the four walls.
Yes.
You know, we're in the four walls Wednesday or Tuesday, Sunday.
Yes.
But we got to get out of the four walls, because the four walls is just being confined to that building. But the reality is, we are the church.
Yes.
And then you mentioned something that was key. You're just a Christian trying to help another sister or brother, not to step on anybody's toes, not to be in competition with anybody. It's just, hear my truths.
Yes.
Because I love you. Because I'm trying to show you how you can never stop believing through my testimony. I'm trying to show you how you can speak to yourself in the mirror every single day and say, I will succeed. I'm trying to show you how you can speak these words to say that.
Yes, you have to speak life into yourself. There is power in your words. There is power in the words that you speak about others, power in the words that you speak about yourself. So you have to continue to encourage yourself and encourage somebody else along the way, you know, when you can and if you can. You may not be there yet, and that's okay. But just be mindful that there is power in what we say. One of my favorite Bible verses, and I'll be honest, I am not a good scripture quoter.
Well, you're going to be. We're going to speak them words
but
now.
Isaiah 40:31 is one of my favorite scriptures, and it say, those that wait on the Lord grow strength.
Come on.
And I get the other words confused, but you grow wings and you fly like an eagle. You shall walk and not faint.
That's it.
That is my favorite verse in the Bible. And whenever I'm feeling discouraged, whenever those moments creep up on you, because you'll forever have those moments sometimes where something tries to jump in your
That's
way,
right.
you just got to go back to the foundation
That's
and what
right.
you know and what you've learned. So
You got to go back to the foundation.
yes.
So going back to the foundation is the same thing that I tell players all the time. Go back to your mechanics. Go back to the foundation, because at the foundation, that's where you understand the basic. And that's what you just said. You got to go back to the foundation to understand the basic.
Yes. And
Going back to the foundation is key.
and the basic is just to trust and believe
Come
in him.
on.
That's it.
That is so simple.
That's it.
That's simple, right?
Yeah.
Just trust them.
Just trust.
Trust them. You know, you mentioned something, Proverbs chapter 3. It's so key. Trust, it says trust. Trust in the Lord with what? All thine heart. And lean not to our own understanding. And he will do what? Direct our path.
Yes.
When we trust, it's the smile. It's the smile, Miss Kim. Your smile speaks so much volume.
Thank you.
Because you're doing that. You're showing people that through my smile is inspiring so many other people.
And
You said it.
It is funny that you say that, because I often get questions about, how I have stayed encouraged, how I keep going, how I overcome the hurdles and the challenges. And I have to tell people it's all God.
Come on now.
It's not that I'm not experiencing challenges. It's not that I'm not still running into tests. It's just that I give them to him and I trust him to
And you
lead
leave
me.
him there.
And I leave him. Yeah, I just trust him.
It's the trust. And when we fully trust, and when we fully commit ourselves to just saying, not my will, but your will. Not my way, but your way. Not my understanding, but your understanding. When we fully just throw our hands up and just say, you know what? I surrender. And I surrender all to you, because I know that you're going to do something good. Just if I can trust you, my path will be directed. Today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. Use the link in the description box to place your order. We'll be right back after the break.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com. SGECOVIDSolutions.com is paving the way forward for a safer city government, delivering cutting-edge biosecurity and biosafety protocols developed internationally by top virologists and scientists using an all-natural cleaning solution, killing COVID-19 on contact like no other product on the international market. For more information, please call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDSolutions.com. Let SGECOVIDSolutions.com provide innovative rapid facilities testing and world-class state-of-the-art biorisk safety protocols for all of your coronavirus needs. Call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDSolutions.com.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Hey, welcome back to Never Stop Believing. I am so glad that you're here. I am your host, Juanita Ward, and I've been here with the lovely Miss Kim. Thank you so much. I gotta say, lovely and warrior. Okay? Because you have done a fantastic job just walking us down your faith journey, walking us down your journey of grace. And you have a quote, and your quote says this, and I want to read this, and I definitely want to put this into the camera here to talk about the card. So the quote says this: support, balance, and motivation are key ingredients in our therapeutic work. Support, balance, and motivation are key ingredients in our therapeutic work. That's powerful. Let's talk a little bit about what that quote means.
Oh, wow. So, support, balance, and motivating others. With the work that I do, and not to go too much into my work, but I am a social worker, if that tells you anything. So, that means I wear many hats. I help many people. I work with people in all walks of life in multiple situations. And what I find in working with people is that most of the time they all just need some support. They need some support, and sometimes they need help balancing what it is that they're facing or that they're experiencing. And I think that you just can't do those things without offering some encouragement or some motivation, even as a clinician, you know, as a pastor, as a social worker, whatever your role is, as a doctor. I think those are key things to helping people overcome life's challenges, whether they're physical, whether they're mental health issues. And so that is where that quote came from, because as I was building my practice and just designing websites and things, I wanted just 3 keywords that spoke to what I wanted to do every day in the lives of people. And I prayed over it, you know, I slept on it, and then those are the 3 words that God gave back to me: support, balance, and motivate.
Yes, that's so good. Okay, so let's talk about how support, let's break it down, because how is support key? And then how is balance key? And then how is motivation key? And because what you do, you're caring, you're loving. And in order to be a social worker, you have to have good balance. You got to have good support. And you got to have motivation. Every single day you go through so much in your life. And I commend you for being the key component to what is motivating and encouraging and inspiring people to keep going. We need more people like you that are warriors. You don't walk around every day and have it all together, but the thing is, you know that for the joy of the Lord is your strength, and this is the day that the Lord has made. So let's talk about support. How is support a key ingredient in what you're doing?
Support is so important. I think it goes back to that thought I made earlier about none of us being perfect, me not being perfect, my clients, my teams, they're not perfect. And I think we have to create an environment where people understand that it's okay to not be perfect. It is okay to make mistakes, and support them in those mistakes, and encourage them, talk to them about how do you overcome that, what did you learn from that. And I think in our time today, you know, with social media and so many other avenues to connect to each other and to connect in each other's lives, you know, sometimes we struggle with that. We see pictures and video on other people's lives, and we want to be that perfect, or what we saw in that perfect picture in that perfect moment. And so I think that we just have to support each other by being more transparent with one another and say, hey, I've been there, or hey, I felt that way before, and you know, you can get back up, and just being there for them in that moment, without anything attached to it, without making them feel smaller than you, or that they're not worthy of the love of God.
Right. And the thing is, you know, when people look at other people trying to be other people, the path that they have, the shoes that that person has worn or is wearing may not fit the shoes that you're trying to put on. Because God has the right shoes and the right size for your feet. He has the right footprint that you can actually put your feet into, so that the path that you're trying to walk and the leading that you're trying to follow is straight. Because he says that he will make your crooked place straight. Which means whatever you have been through in your life, once you let it go, once you release it and turn it over to him, then God can be the most important support system that you ever have. And then it's the balance part. It's the balance. How is that balance? How are you capable to help people instill balance?
Sometimes it just means helping people manage their time, helping them sit down and prioritize what's important. You know, I talk with a lot of students. I work with a lot of young adults in college and in grad school, and sometimes they're struggling between my studies and my relationships and my relationship with God and going to church. And I just always sit down with them. Let's lay it out. You know, number one, if you follow God, you can't go wrong. So let's put that over here at number one. let's put the schoolwork at number 2.
Let's prioritize these things. That's good.
And so that is what I do in helping people find balance, or even sharing with them times in my life that I had to kind of balance and find a good go between certain things, because many of us do wear a lot of hats. Some of us are parents, we're teachers, we're doctors, we're lawyers, and a lot comes with it in a day's time. And so just knowing where you put it, which pot it goes in, and being okay with saying no.
Yes.
That was another thing that I had to learn. Being okay with saying no, not today, or I can't do that at this moment.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes you got to pray about it, because you need that motivation. You got to go and get a refining yourself. You got to go and get a reviving yourself so that it can motivate you for the next task. And that motivation key was I believe is like a main component to, what you're doing.
Yes, I think so. Motivation to me was the bow on the box.
Yeah.
You support, you balance, and then you wrap it with a little motivation. Because what I want as a clinician, as a friend, as a parent, even, I want to give the people in my life encouragement and skills and tools to not necessarily need me in that next moment. If they do need me, that's okay. If God sends them back to me for me to pour out something, I'm fine with that. But I really want to encourage and motivate in such a way that the next time they experience that journey or that test, and they say, oh, I remember when, and they know what to do with it.
That's it. Yeah. It's the remember part. I remember back when that person spoke life into me. I remember back when, God placed someone around me that was instilling something in me. I remember that encouraging word. I remember that inspiration that was spoken, that now I can go back and hear those words spoken. And as we talked about earlier, words are powerful. Absolutely. Words are powerful. They are key components to our everyday life, and what you're doing on your social media page. You're putting out words, and those words are creating power, not just in the States, but creating power overseas, because our words are going out over the airway, and it's speaking life to let someone know that, listen, we are imperfect, but we are trying to perfect what God has made perfect. Yes. We are imperfect people trying to perfect what God has made perfect, because we will not be able to go through anything on this earth thinking that we're perfect. We will jack up. I tripped walking in here. And I was walking straight. It was no stairs. Yeah, but guess what? It wasn't the fact that I said, oh man, I tripped. It was the fact that I kept going.
That you kept going.
It was the fact that I tripped and I stumbled, but I kept pressing and I kept going. I gathered myself so that I didn't fall.
Right.
And I gathered myself. It's knowing that the support that God has for us, the balance that God has for us, and then that motivational, encouraging word that God has for us. Yes. If I don't study to show thyself approved, a workman needed not to be ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth, how do I know what I have?
Absolutely.
How do we know what we have?
We don't unless we look to Him to tell us. We have to look to Him to tell us what we have in us, because, again, we try to build it off of what we see with our physical eye. And we know that His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways.
On now.
And so, you really just have to, like you said, you got to surrender and look to Him and say, okay, God, use me. As I always say, Master, can you use me?
Come on.
And I'm available to you. You really have to get in that mode and just shut everything else out and say, okay, Lord, where are we going? What do you want me to do? Use me today.
Yes. That's so emotional. That's so intimate.
Yes.
It's the silent moment. It's the silent moment of knowing that, God, listen, you know before I know. Today is that day. Use me.
Yes.
Wherever you send me, I will go. Just use me. Wherever you lead me, I will go. Just use me.
You said something so key about that silent moment. That is a big thing. learning to be okay in that silent moment and with him. And if nobody else is around, just knowing that he is listening, he hears you, he sees you, and it's going to be okay.
Yes. If you could encourage somebody about understanding the silent moment. You started talking, but I just really feel that somebody needs to know. It may feel awkward getting quiet.
Absolutely.
Because you hear nothing.
Yes.
But you do hear something. You hear something that's so key. Because God speaks to us in a still voice.
Absolutely. And again, those moments, they may feel awkward. You may even feel a little lonely or alone, that people don't understand why you're going into that silent place. But when you come out of that silent place, God will have done something great in that moment. He will have revealed something great to you. And so just learning to be okay in those moments and listening to him. Be still and know that I am God. And so those are those moments when you have to get somewhere and be still, and sometimes you have to be quiet. And for some of us, that can be hard to do. I know it was hard for me at times, but when you get in that silent moment and he starts to speak to you, you really learn how to take yourself back to that place. And sometimes you get intentional about it. You like, not this week. I got to spend some time with the Father. I gotta go into my place. And so,
and it's all about the sacrifice that you want to make.
Absolutely.
Because knowing that when you fail, you got back up. You didn't stay down.
Absolutely.
Because we know that he got up. He didn't stay down. He said, I'm going to tear this thing down in 3 days. I need y'all to get right.
Because I'm getting up.
Because I'm going to get up. Come on now. Because I'm going to get up. What is he saying? We got to get up. We got to get back up.
We cannot lay down.
We can't lay down, because if we lay down, then guess what? We lose. And don't nobody want to lose.
Absolutely.
He has not created us to be losers. He has created us to be winners. That's the reason why you can never stop believing. Even when your brain goes left to say, I can't do it no more, I throw my hands up, I throw the towel in. If my hands are not up for surrender, you don't need to give in to nobody else. As you are hearing Miss Kim say here right now, that greater is on the other side of your press.
Yes.
Greater is on the other side of your press. What do we tell our players? I tell my players all the time, Miss Kim, that if you can just stop and get a stop in this full court press, once we steal the ball, guess what? Greater is on the other side, because we're going to go and score a goal. But we got to do the hard work. The hard work is we got to get a stop.
Yes.
But the thing is, we cannot allow the enemy to stop us, to put a damper on our mind, because we have purpose. We have purpose. We have purpose through grace. We have purpose because we have mercy, because they're going with us all the days of our life, and we will not fail because we don't have a father that has fallen. We don't have a father that has failed. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that. We won't fail. We won't fail because we don't have a father that is a failure. He is a champion. Today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. Use the link in the description box to place your order. We'll be right back after the break.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Hey, welcome back to Never Stop Believing. I am your host, Juanita Ward, and I'm here with the lovely Miss Kim. I am having an awesome time. It's just so much, that you are doing. Oh my gosh. I just love you so much. I love your spirit. I love what you're doing because you're a giant. You're a giant. And yeah, you probably should have knocked somebody in the eye for talking about you because they didn't know what God was creating on the inside.
He was working on me, Pastor. He was working on me.
They didn't know that you were a giant. And that's the beauty about life, right? Sometimes people will talk about what they see, not knowing what God is defining. Yes, listen, if I was you, I'd write that in the comment box. Sometimes people are talking about what they see, not knowing that God is defining and He is in your becoming. He is becoming something inside of you so that we can be, because we are His every being. Yes, we are dwelling with Him. We are the becoming. What did He say to Peter? He says, Peter, come. Mm-hmm. And immediately Peter said, okay, cool, I'm getting off the boat. I'm going to leave behind what I thought I was good at to follow after Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's when we become who God has created and called us to be. We're living on purpose for a purpose. We are being satisfied. When you taste something that's good, mm-hmm. What do? You want it again, right?
You want it again.
You want it again. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's what's happening with your social media page.
Yes.
There's so many women that are tasting something that's good and they want what's good. Mm-hmm. Let's talk more about what you're doing with social media and how you are bringing the women together to get an understanding of what's good. It's something about the power of agreement. And when we come together and agree, it doesn't matter if you're a woman, it doesn't matter if you're a male, it doesn't matter if you're an adult or a child. It's something about the power of agreement, agreeing on the right thing, mm-hmm. on the right thing. There's power in that.
Absolutely. And so again, the Facebook page is In Grace and On Purpose. And I was very intentional with the wording when God gave it to me, making sure I had it in the right order. And the In Grace came first and then the On Purpose, because so often, again, we're trying to chase our purpose, figure out what our purpose is, versus letting Him lead us to it. And so that is how it came, In Grace and On Purpose. And so one of the first things that we did within the group, again, we bought the book, but we had a virtual book reading of the book and a discussion. And a great part of the book is about Eve and Eve's imperfections. Yes. And what Eve did, and how some of us women may view Eve and may have been a little upset with Eve in her imperfect moments. Right. But it took us to have a discussion about our own imperfections and how we have to learn to show up in those imperfections and be okay with them, but not tearing each other down in those imperfect moments, and how we can lift each other up and support in those moments. And so that was one of our very first activities, and from that moment the group just started to grow. We've done some posts and a couple of videos, but it's just a link to connect other women to women that have similar stories. And and I was clear that I wanted it to be a safe space, a space where women could reach out to one another and get encouragement and support without feeling ashamed or judged or criticized. And so far it's been serving its purpose, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's awesome. And you talked about something that was so key. Sometimes your crown may be tilted a little bit.
Yes.
But here's the reality. We got to help our sister, because we are our sister's keeper.
Yes.
We got to help our sister get that crown tilted back right, because you are beautiful in the image that God has created you. You are beautiful in the image that God has created you. Your crown may be a little tilted, but when you have a sister that can help tilt that crown back the way that it needs to be, you know that you have a supporter that is understanding how to help your balance, putting things into the right perspective, and most importantly, inspiring and motivating and encouraging you to be the best that you can be. You may feel sometimes like you're down. You may feel sometimes like you can't do it. You may even feel like you're out for the last count. That's because your crown was a little bit tilted off. But your sister tilts your crown, and that's what you're doing in the group. You're tilting the crown for the sister, so she can know that she is a queen, so that she knows that her father is the Most High King.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just, reminding each other that, you're not alone. Many of us have been there, and some of us that have not may end up there. And how can I reach out to another sister? How can I uplift her? How can I encourage her? Just being there for someone. And again, it goes back to my view of what ministry is that ministry goes beyond the church. And so even some of the women in the group that have been helping others and reaching out to others may not realize what they're doing, but they're ministering.
Yes.
We're creating a network.
Yes.
We're ministering. We're coaching one another. We're supporting. We're balancing. And so it just comes natural. Because it was a part of his plan.
That's right.
It.
See, I talk about this all the time. What you and I are doing is a part of ministry. And most people say, okay, well, how am I going out into the marketplace and how am I ministering? Every time you go out and you talk about a good word, you're doing something good. You're helping someone see that there's a seed on the inside of them that needs to be watered.
Absolutely.
You're helping someone see that you just need a little bit of faith. That's all you need is a little bit of faith. If you can just, that's it. If you can just say, listen, do you believe? You say yes. You ask me, do you believe? I say yes. Now we have a power of agreement. We have power of agreement to say, listen, sister. Listen, brother. You may be down, but guess what? I've been there too. I've been there with the eviction notices. I've been there with the pink slips on my door. I've been there not knowing what was going to happen. I've been there when I've hit rock bottom and not knowing if there was a penny in the bank. I've been there when not knowing if I'm going to have food to eat the next day. I've been there, but guess what? I know how to get you out of there because I've been there. Now here's what and I got to say this because see, sometimes people would tell their deep, darkest secrets thinking that that's helping somebody. And that ain't.
Right.
Because we have to be led by God to help someone in that particular situation.
Absolutely.
Now, when you go start telling your deep, darkest secrets, that's just people being nosy. Yeah, give me some more. What did that happen to me? No.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to you, okay? You just want to know more. I just had to put that out there.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, we got to be led by God.
Absolutely.
Because we have to know what's the right thing to say at the right moment.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I encourage, the group to do is to, whenever you feel led to reach out to somebody, to speak to them, to help them, pray about it and ask God, what is it that you want me to deliver to them? What is the message you want them to get from me? And again, one thing about praying sisters, or not just sisters, but being in the right circles, a person that really truly has your best interest at heart and a fellow believer, they don't have to know everything that's going on with you to support you, pray for you, motivate you. They don't, and you'll learn that. And as your faith grows, so does your spirit of discernment. You'll know when you get ready to head in that door, He'll turn you around, and so. It's just a process.
That's key. I get this here. Your abstract of your life is a defining moment of your purpose. Your abstract of your life is a defining moment of your purpose.
Without a doubt. I wouldn't be sitting here with you today if it wasn't for the life that I've lived, the life that He birthed me into. I had to come to terms with that. Everything that happened to me in my life, everything that I've experienced in my life, whether it was good or bad, it was a part of His plan for me. It was, what God destined for me. And because of that, He's able to use me how He wants to use me and how He needs to use me. God can do it all by Himself. He don't need me, little old me, but because He chooses to use me in that way, I'm humbled, and every day I'm so thankful that He wakes me up to talk to somebody, to encourage someone. And I think it's all because of this life. I where I am now, I was a mom at 19. I went through a divorce really young. I'm remarried and happily married now. But, over the years, I faced challenges trying to graduate school and different things. But He led me to this point. I'm a social worker. I work for Child Protection Services as a part of my full-time role. I'm a clinician part-time, and I specialize in young adults and young couples, just being that person for them. And they often now call me auntie. You know, I have a one young couple. They said, well, when we get done, can we hang out? I said, no, that's against the rules. But I'm glad that I can touch lives in that way. And he uses me in so many avenues, through my church, you know, through my work. And so I'm almost speechless about it, because it's been amazing to see, you know, where my life started and some of the stumbles and the tests and the trials that I faced, to see from then to now how he has carried me and the growth in me. And it's not any growth of my own doing. It's been the Holy Spirit. It's been the Heavenly Father, you know, from that day to this day. And so don't give up, you know, surrender, give it to God. And I know sometimes that is easier said than done, but when you do, you will not feel disappointed.
That's right.
You will make your way out of whatever that situation is.
That's right. You know, Miss Kim, Miss Kimberly, Miss Warrior, Miss Visionary.
You call me whatever you
Miss
need
Prophet, Miss Woman of God, Miss Giant. Thank you. Thank you so much for being obedient. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for the 3 words that you spoke: supporting, balance, motivating. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for being authentic. God is using you so much.
Thank you so much. And if I don't, you know, say anything else today on this show, I just want to say that support, balance, and motivation are important, and that do it for someone else and someone will do it for you, and to trust God in those processes. And that's me in a nutshell.
This is awesome. You have been great, and I really appreciate you for being obedient, answering the call, and saying yes.
Absolutely.
It's women like you. It's people like you. It's warriors like you. Most importantly, it's sisters in Christ like you. That's what God is trying to do. He's trying to connect us. He's trying to connect us to be divine, purposed children. Because he has a plan on the inside of us. Because he has a seed that he's watering on the inside of us. You have purpose. You have a plan. You may feel like you can't make it, but guess what? Just keep going and never stop believing. Speak words of encouragement to yourself. Say it all the time. It's a declaration. It's a decree. I can, I will succeed. I'm so grateful that God gave me an opportunity to have this show, Never Stop Believing, so that we can meet warriors like Miss Kimberly. This is your season. This is your season to reap all that you have sown. This is your now season. You gotta believe it. I believe it with you, so we're touching and agreeing. Where there's 2 or 3, God is there. Everything that you went through is a part of the plan, because you never stop believing. Today's show has been sponsored by EarthBlendCoffee.Global. If you want one, you can get it in the description box. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Never Stop Believing. I am your host, Juanita Ward, and we'll see you again here next Thursday. Thank you so much. This is Jay Worth, the Encourager. Never stop believing. I'm telling you, you have to believe it. It's inside of you. It's what you feel. It's what you need. It's what you do. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. Just keep going. Press your way through. Can you believe in what you can't see? There's so much more that's going on inside of you. And the seed that's inside of you, you have to water it. Don't you believe it? If you can press, if you can believe, I assure you, you'll never stop believing.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe.Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit